We're talking about the new song now. It's been out for, oh boy, since January. Never run out of
January
rope.
19th. Yep,
Mhm.
January 19th. I am really proud of having this song out, and it all started back about 7 or 8 years ago. I had this song, I had this tune, and I fed it over to my friend Charlie Starr from Blackberry Smoke, and Charlie and I collaborated on it. Charlie and I've collaborated on other tunes. And I fed it over to him, and he started working on the lyrics. We passed it back and forth. So we got it to a certain point, pretty well done. And I sat on it all this time. Well, when Skinner goes on hiatus, it's not a good idea to leave me sitting, because if I'm sitting and I get bored, it could turn into real problems. And you can ask my significant other; she'll tell you.
Can you imagine?
I can only go fishing so much.
Yeah.
And after that, it doesn't work.
Yeah.
So the interesting thing, I had tons of songs sitting here in my studio. And by the way, we're in my home studio / mix room in the mother-in-law suite here on the property. And my mother-in-law don't visit too often, so Stacy and I decided to turn it into a good studio / mix room. But anyway, Mark Warple, the guy that's the guitar player that's I'm involved with, he was in Blackfoot in the latter days. Mark and I decided, I called him up one day, and I knew Skinner was going to go on hiatus. And this has been back in 2022. I called up Mark around September of 2022. And I said, Mark, it's coming up where Skinner's going to go on hiatus. And I just can't stand the thought of being sitting there for the next 3 or 4 months not playing music, because I'm a stage guy, a stage performer. I love standing on that stage, and playing for people. So Mark, I said, Mark, what if he had a band, he's got a band. And what if I interjected myself in your band, and we go out and we do some dates, and maybe out of doing these dates, maybe we got to have something to promote. Maybe we can put a song out across the platforms for people to be able to stream new recording and take it from there. He goes, you know what? Yeah, he goes, that sounds like a great idea. Let me talk to the guys in the band. So he went and talked to the guys in the band and came back and said, they love the idea. Let's do it. So we started putting it together October of 2022. So we played our first shows this year, the very beginning of March. We put this song out through a company, Rock the Cause Records. A great guy named Scott Harold owns the label. And what he does is that when you decide to, when you want to do a record with him, he wants you to donate to your favorite charity, a charitable fund. And it doesn't have to be just one. It can be whatever, or how many. He's done it with other artists, Bonnie Raitt, one of them. And I thought, boy, this is a great idea. Well, years before, I got involved with people and tried to do a TV show about the subject, missing and murdered Indigenous women. And it was going to be an investigative show. Pretty serious. But if you can kind of wrap your head around the fact that the United States is made up of probably a little bit less than 10% of indigenous people. And out of that 10%, around 40% of the women go missing. Now that's a large number. And for the fact that, excuse me, it's been going on probably at least 100 years. I mean, this is an epidemic of great proportion. And it never gets attention. And it's just now where people maybe are starting to hear about such a thing. So when I signed with the label, I wanted it to be to where, you know, when I signed with that label and they said the things about the charities, it hit me right away. I said, wow, what an opportunity to be able to do something small in whatever capacity. If it becomes large, great. But in some way, be a voice to go out there and make people aware. So I have a very, very good friend of mine who's like a brother. His name is Gil Birmingham. And for those people that are not familiar with Gil, Gil started in film way back. He's a native, and he was the father of the wolves in the Twilight series. He's the guy in the wheelchair. He did movies. One movie that he did with Jeremy Renner touched on this subject called Wind River. Wind River, he played the father, Gil did, of a missing and murdered Indigenous daughter. He did just an incredible job in that movie. So I called up Gil and I said, Gil, I'm going to do this record and put it out. And I want to know, what is a good, reputable charity to donate for the MMIW? He said, you know, let me call Taylor Sheridan. Well, they had done a segment of Yellowstone, and Gil is on Yellowstone. He plays the tribal chairman. So they had done they had done a segment of the show about this subject. And so Gil called up Taylor because Gil said that Taylor donated to a certain charity of that cause. He found out from Taylor who it was. He called me back and he says, Rickey, Taylor said the best one that he can think of is the National Indigenous Women's Resource Center. And you can go online, you can find them on my website, RickeyMedlocke.com. You can download the song. The proceeds go to the National Women's Indigenous Resource Center. We've got merchandise on there that goes to them. Also, in Canada, there's an organization called Green River Enterprise, which is your 8 Nations of the Seneca natives. And they have a charitable fund called Dream Catchers Charitable Fund. And so I did that one. And plus, I'm big into animals. My spouse and I, we donate to different animal societies. And I set up this thing to where I wanted to donate to help preserve the North American wolf, Wolf Society. So all 3 of those are listed on my website. We got merchandise on there. Whatever you purchase, it goes to the charity. And you know what? I'm so proud of being able to be just a little tiny part of bringing awareness to this epidemic of Native women. And it breaks my heart to know that there are families that'll never get any closure in their life. And it happens constantly. One of your biggest Indian reservations, Native reservations, is the Blackfoot Native Reservation up in Montana. they're man, they're Native women, man. It's just an epidemic. And anyway, that is the story to it. Never run out of road. Mark and I developed that. We put it out through Scott Harrell and Rock Cause Records. And we're working on a new song to put another new song out. And we'll continue to do the same thing. There you go.
What, if any, either awareness or is there anything tangible you've noticed since this came out in January? And you've been promoting this a lot, and I mean, I've learned a whole lot more because of your promotion of this and listening to the song and reading about it. But what have you noticed over the past few months as word has spread around this? And do you sense it's making a difference, or at least getting people to pay more attention?
I think people are becoming more sensitive and more aware. I'll tell you what I'd like to do. I mean, I have a friend. She's Native. She's the Secretary of Interior, Deb Haaland. I have spoken to Deb. I would like to get before Congress and talk to the powers that be and just let them know that I am very upset that more attention has never been paid to this situation. We got all this other stuff that we pay attention to, but the one real thing in this country of true, that are real Americans, they were the first Americans, is kind of swept under the rug, you know? And I would love to be able to get in front of Congress and, you know, have my say. Whether it's going to make a difference or not, I don't know. Maybe it will, but I vote. I'm a guy that votes. I'm an independent voter. And when time comes to vote, I just want them to know I play in one of the biggest rock and roll bands in the world. And don't make me wear a t-shirt in front of 25,000 people a night going middle finger in the air for the powers that be, you know? So we'll see. We'll see where it goes. But I would, you know, I would welcome that. I would welcome that opportunity. And like I said, whether it would make a difference or not, I don't know. But I do think that there needs to be more thought and more, you know, more stuff put into it than it is right now. Mm-hmm. So we'll see where it goes.
I sure hope so. I can't imagine why someone would not. I mean, barring the bad guys that are doing the bad stuff, I can't imagine why anyone in any position of influence would be opposed to that. It seems like a no-brainer issue. But like we've been saying, this is something that maybe not a lot of people who aren't directly involved would have known about. I didn't know about those stats till starting to do the research for the interview. It's that bad. That's horrible. Yeah. That's horrible. Yeah.
Well, here's what I love. I do tons of interviews every year. The one thing that I am really happy about and very really happy about is all the podcast interviews I'm able to do now, because unlike, you know, print interviews that people only maybe a portion of the people see, podcasts have become so, you know, so what should I say, so popular. It's just like you and I here. You've got a certain amount of listeners, people that watch your podcast, that tune into it. Well, you know what? All these podcasts, they really, really let the people know that the real person is sitting in front of the camera talking about it. It's not like, oh, I wonder if, that was really him. You know what I mean? No, I'm not some AI guy.
Mhm.
Not yet, you know. So I really appreciate and thankful for being able to be in touch with so many podcast interviews. And I've done a ton of them now. And you know what? When you open up, when all of a sudden you get a Yahoo News alert and it's from one of your podcasts, you know that you're reaching it. You know that you're reaching a lot of people. You know what I mean? So I welcome them. I'm happy to be a part of it, and I'm happy just to get the word out. Yeah.
Yeah. Here in Western Wisconsin, obviously we plenty of Native Americans live around the area, not immediately right
Oh
here
yeah.
in Eau Claire, but especially further up north. I have to imagine. I mean, I don't think we have any. The main one is over Menominee County, eastern
Oh yeah.
Wisconsin.
Yep.
But it still affects around. We're familiar with that. I'm segueing directly to Eau Claire because I saw Brian Reitinger was listed in the credits, and I see he is from this city here in
Right.
Eau Claire. Born and raised here in Eau Claire. Went, oh my gosh! Honestly, I had not heard of him, and I'm not a native, but I've lived almost my entire life in the city of Eau Claire. So seeing that
Right.
direct connection, you working with someone from here, how did you get connected with them? Is it through the two Marks and them pesky kids, those folks?
Yeah. It all kind of culminated through channels of me being up there with them pesky kids and interjecting myself into the band. You got to realize them pesky kids, Mark Warple, the guy that's the leader of he lives right over there in Ellsworth, Wisconsin.
Hmm.
And that's where we put the band together. That's where we still rehearse.
That's not that far away from here.
No, it's not. So there's that connection of where it all came into play. Scott Harold, the guy that owns the label, there he is. He's up there around the Wisconsin, Minnesota area. And you know what? That area is an interesting area to me. There are natives, and I've met a lot of natives up there. I know Menominees. I know the people up there. I know quite a few of them, So I think that as long as I keep this word out and keep it going, I think in some small way it's going to make a difference. If I can do something in a different way, a major way, it's just all for the better of getting the word out.
Yeah.
And along with the band, along with Scott Harold, along with certain natives there in the area, we can, the word can continue to get out. And I think that's what we need to do.
That's good. Yeah, I would imagine like I said, we should be receptive around there. I think everyone would be receptive around this area to
Right.
that message. And so this is good to spread that word a little bit
Yeah.
more.
Oh, yeah.
I know Skinner's got a performance coming up August 30th. Also not that far away, Treasure Island Resort and Casino.
Treasure Island, yes, sir.
There are a lot of folks that'll come cycle on through there. So I've got the jingle going through my mind right now. Show with ZZ Top. Okay, so you mentioned AI a moment ago, and I was talking to one of my coworkers, works on our country station, Wax Radio. We were talking about the Randy Travis song that came out where they used AI assistance on that. So we started talking back and forth about how far could this go? And I'm like, I don't know. Well, I'll get your opinion on how far AI should go. This popped in my mind as I'm talking to you. You are part of a band that has some very familiar folks who are not with us anymore. What is your take on that notion? Is that a heck no? Is that a what do you think about that? Even extend that to other pop, rock music, whomever. What do you think?
Well, I've already had my experience with in a not so good way with AI already. You have a lot of fake Instagram accounts out there that claiming to be me, claiming to be Johnny, claiming to be some of the band members. All the people that is in entertainment, everybody gets it. It happens to a lot of people. I mean, even the sheriff of our county here, down here in Lee County, they even do it to him. These whack jobs, I guess I should call them, they sit offshore. You can't touch them. So recently, they've started using AI, my voice, and getting on a fake account and asking for money. And Johnny and I have gone out and we've made a video. We made a video that if you think you're talking to us, you're not. If you think that we're getting on there and talking to you as person to person, we're not. I let it be known that I don't get on and I don't engage in conversations online like that, that I would never, ever ask anybody for money. I don't need to do that. And it makes me feel bad for people that are vulnerable. You know, and it seems like these whack jobs are doing it to older women. Older women think, oh my God, wow, I'm talking to this guy from Leonard Skinner. I can't believe it. And all of a sudden it gets to be really bad. So, you know, in your listening audience, please, everybody, if you encounter such a thing, don't fall for it because it's not real. Well, then that brings us to the subject of AI. I suppose that there are some things of artificial intelligence that could be, I guess, maybe good, I guess. But there's something just whacked about having an artificial thing take the place of a real human being. The day that they have an artificial, an AI person standing up there that looks like me playing a guitar, I'm out. I guess I'm gone. Because when it gets to be that, then that's just a little bit too much it's gone too far. You know what I mean? I mean, I'm even reading about where AI is taking the place of real people in warehouses and doing their job. And then the people that own the warehouses or corporations or whatever, then they're not liable for insurance for injury and you know, people get hurt on the job. I just saw where the United States military has a new jet, fighter jet, that's all artificial intelligence flown.
That's right. Yeah.
And okay, I get it. You take, if it gets shot down, you lost the jet. You didn't lose the pilot. I get it. But there's something really, really weird about that whole thing. And I understand it's the future. Okay. We're into 2024 now. And time waits on nobody, as we all know. And it keeps marching forward, and we keep hoping that things are going to really turn around and be for the better, and we'll all get along at some point, and we don't have to worry about, you know, none of the BS that we have to worry about every day, and we can all get along no matter what walk of life we are. And you know, I keep hoping that. I keep saying to myself, gosh, Rickey, you lived in some of the most magical times in this country that you could have ever lived in. I lived in, you know, the 60s and the 70s going into the 80s were just, I mean, wow. And I never thought that when I got to be the age that I'm at, that I would be seeing what's going on all over the world, not just here, but everywhere. I mean, it's like I think we have forgotten how to give, forgive, and forget. And I think we've forgotten a lot of times about how, treat other human beings as we would want to be treated. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
That was instilled in me when I was a very young boy by my grandparents, and I never forgot it. And I have been okay. I'm a member of Leonard Skinner, one of the most rebellious bands, other than Blackfoot, of course, but one of the most rebellious bands that ever lived.
Mhm.
We used to love to fight, but maybe that's what's wrong with my hands nowadays. I mean, but that rebellious part of me is still in me. And I guess I rebel against what people are calling the norm now. I don't look at it as the norm. It's not the norm. Not for me, it isn't. So I just keep hoping, my friend, that at some point we can all figure it out, before maybe it's too late. I don't know. We'll see.
It's a good ideal, and keep on literally being real, because we actually have to put it that way now. But yes, keep being real, keep doing the music. Rickey, this has been a great conversation, insightful as always. If you can bring your own band over to Eau Claire, drive on I-94 a little further east here and get a gig over here. I'm sure we'd be very receptive to have you. If you ever feel like doing that at some point in the future, come on over here.
I'll make sure I keep that in mind.
Absolutely, it'd be great over here. I'm sure we have a lot of fans over here of all your music and all Skinner's music. So, thank you again. All the best with all your work, and keep up the fight, keep up the good work, and
man,
all the best down the road.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.